Hey everyone, welcome to Roundball Stew. I am Matt Stroup. It is Wednesday, June 15th, and today, with just over a week to go until the NBA draft, we're taking a closer look at last season's rookies, the guys who got drafted last year, who now become some of the top second-year breakout candidates. So we will talk that coming up, as well as look at Game 6 of the NBA Finals, which is ahead on Thursday. I'm joined by Dr. A, Jared Johnson. Guys, I feel compelled to share that I, for the first time in I think 2+ years, played pickup basketball on Tuesday night, and it was glorious. I felt like I was jumping into a cleansing pond of basketballness. And I managed not to get injured. I can barely walk today, but great times overall.
Nice.
Yeah, I think the fact that you're not injured is key to that whole thing. And then also, I imagine that if I went out and played some pickup basketball right now, I would not be able to walk for about 4 days.
I mean, now, in fairness, we're only about 16 hours removed from when I stepped off the court, and things could still go south. I feel like some things are there's a little bit delayed injuries that set in. Like I was in the car earlier, and I got out of the car, and I could barely get out of the car. So it's not all great, but it was fun, and I was pleased that some of my old tricks still work. You know, some of the old moves. Some of the old moves still work, so that was nice.
I think the last time I played pickup basketball with my friend, I blew out my back pretty early on, but just powered through it and couldn't walk for 3 months. So I'm retired.
Yeah, I have retired also. Also, somebody else who played some pickup basketball with themselves is Fake Clay. Fake Clay got onto the court.
Legend.
Before Game 5. And just balled out for 10 minutes and then walked back out. And as he was walking out, security figured out that he was not real Clay. But he got through
he's permanently banned.
5 layers of security without anybody ever questioning him, who he was, or the guy that was with him filming the whole thing. And now he's banned for life.
He can drive to Sacramento. I think that's one of the most worth it bans for life.
It's kind of sad.
I don't know. Is there such thing as I don't know if there's such thing as a worth it ban for life. I don't know if that exists.
He was
just
taking shots on the court. It's not like he did anything offensive, at least.
I tweeted out the video. It's long. It's 15 minutes long, but it's a good watch.
All right. Before we get into the business at hand, actually, you know what? Let's save it. We'll save that for later. Let's look at Game 4 quickly of the NBA Finals before we talk second-year breakout candidates. It's coming up on Thursday. Celtics, according to PointsBet, are 4-point favorites at home. Jared,
Game 6.
What did I say?
4.
Game 4.
This details, guys.
I mean, Game 6, Game 4. This is really not a difference.
Yeah, I think I was looking at the Celtics are 4-point favorites thing, and I just turned Game 6 into Game 4. Whatever. It's fine, everyone, okay? I said Game 4. We all know it's Game 6. Everyone knows. It was partially just a test, and you guys passed with flying colors. Jared, the Warriors, your Warriors are 1 win away, apparently, from a title. You got to be pleased with how things went down the last couple of games.
I am very pleased. I've said Warriors in 7 from the jump, so that means they have to lose tonight for me to be right, but I would be absolutely fine with them taking this one in Boston. At the same time, I don't know. I'm not sure that the Celtics are going to miss all their free throws again. I would expect Tatum to play better at home. So I'm not really ready to wave the flag of victory just yet, but I mean, I think that the Warriors got this. They have two attempts to take this home. So,
Steve.
Yeah, and Boston's trying to do something that only Pat Riley's 1988 Lakers did, and that's win 3 consecutive Game 7s to win a championship.
Wow.
So, first of all, Boston would need to win tonight in Boston, which it's at Boston. They should win this game, but it's not guaranteed. And then they would have to win at Golden State on Sunday, which that's a totally different story, especially given how bad Steph Curry played in Game 5.
Yeah.
The fact that the Warriors still pulled that out behind all-star starter Andrew Wiggins, huge night.
Man.
and a huge series. Really, everybody's like, "Oh no, this is Curry's MVP to lose." It is, but I'm telling you, if Curry struggles one more time and Wiggins plays well one more time, it's
no,
gonna be
don't
tricky.
do this again. We're not giving the
Andre
MVP to someone
Iguodala.
other than Curry. He's getting this by technicality or default. I don't care. We're giving it to Steph if the Warriors win. But
I told my son and I were talking there, and during Game 5, he's like, "How many Finals MVPs has Curry won?" I was like, 0, dude. They gave it to Andre Iguodala. He's like, "No, that's not possible." What year was that?
2015.
Yeah.
Oh man, Wiggins has been awesome though. 26 points, 13 rebounds in Game 5, and 17 points and 16 rebounds in the real Game 4.
The rebounds have been absolutely the most significant factor here. I remember when we talked ahead of Game 4, Raphael brought up that rebounding was one of the biggest issues that the Warriors were having. And since that game, Wiggins has come through with double-digit boards 2 times in a row. He's been absolutely fabulous. He's been basically their second scorer because Clay's been off. Poole's been kind of off. He's playing incredible. There's no denying it.
And Matt, we finally got that finals type of feel that we've been looking for in a game for the third quarter. But then fourth quarter rolled around and it turned into another blowout. I'll tell you what, the reason that turned into a good game in the third quarter is I have a recliner right next to my desk. And at halftime, I laid down, took me a little siesta. I wake up, there's 7 minutes left in the third quarter, and the Celtics have hit 8 straight 3-pointers and totally erased the 16-point deficit and taken a 3-point lead. And I was like, oh, man, well, now that I'm watching, I'm sure that's all going to go away. And it did.
Steve, you're the only guy I know who takes a siesta at the halftime of a game. Most people just go to bed if they're that tired. Halftime of a late finals game, Steve takes a quick nap.
Well, sometimes
you, sir, are a vampire.
Maybe I had to work, Matt. Maybe I had to write the game up when it was over. Maybe I had a responsibility to be here.
I feel like
to the people. Well, I mean, what would the people do if they didn't have a game 5 post-game blurbs?
Some are saying you didn't even have to do those, though. That's the word I'm hearing now from Jared. I'm hearing
wasn't Zach on?
Yeah.
Caught him in a bold-faced lie.
No. Zach and I miscommunicated. No. He was prepared to do it. I was already in the seat, strapped in, and he said, "Well, I could just coach my kids' team. I'm tired anyway. If you want to work tonight, that would be amazing." So I actually did those blurbs.
Got it. Okay, so you actually heroically.
I did not need
so that
to be
could
here.
Get some rest.
I did not need to be here, but I wanted to be here.
Wow. All right. So it was a true power nap, Steve. I applaud you.
Truly.
For a second there, I thought we'd caught you in a lie, but no, it looks like you're on the high road here, Steve. Congratulations.
Thank you.
All right, guys, let's get into why we are here today, and that's we want to look at some of last year's top rookies, talk about their breakout chances or chances of taking a huge leap next season. We obviously have to start with last year's number 1 overall pick, Cade Cunningham, who, just rounding his stats, was around 17.5 points, 5.5 rebounds, 5.5 dimes, 1.2 steals, 0.7 blocks, 1.8 threes, high turnovers, 3.7, low field goal percentage, 41.6. Now, he's 20 years old, and then when you look at those counting stats, this forecasts a pretty scary ceiling, Jared, even for just this season. I mean, where are you with Cade Cunningham and those two kind of, I don't want to call them scary areas of his stat line, but those two areas of concern? How much are those going to impact you when it comes to drafting this guy?
I'm not terribly concerned about a rookie guard shooting 41.6%. That sounds kind of within the realm of reasonable production, and just the counting stats were great. I have a column that I put up every year about how successful are rookies. So here's a stat for the first round pick.
Love it.
They tend to be really reliable. Over the past 19 years, 14 have had successful seasons, but only 2 players have had first round seasons, Karl Anthony Towns and Steph Curry. But the median value of the number 1 overall pick is 38. So in general, it tends to be pretty safe to target number one picks. Looking forward towards next year, I think that Cade will just continue his development. He's showed some really incredible flashes over the second half. So a lot to like there.
I really like the fact he's a good free throw shooter. I really like the fact that he flirted with a block per game at 0.7 as a rookie. Probably not a stretch to think he might be able to bump that up to like 0.8, 0.9, which is huge. The turnovers, as you said, are high, but they're not death lineup high. They're not so high that he's going to ruin your team. And I guess the biggest concern is the 18 missed games, but this stuff happens. It's the NBA. Today's NBA. I wonder what the average number of missed games for every NBA player. I wonder what the average is. It's probably about 10 to 15, I would think, somewhere in there. So
I mean, yeah, the easiest way to do that would probably be to look at the starters for a starting point,
Let's put Ryan and his Excel spreadsheet algorithms on that.
Yeah, Ryan, homework assignment.
Ryan, figure that out for us.
All right, we all like Cade Cunningham. No surprise there. I don't know that we really have a feel of how high he's going to go in drafts, and I don't know that we need to guess. But I think we'd all be willing to invest a relatively early round pick on him from the sound of things.
I think he's fourth round player.
Third,
fourth
possibly.
Seems fair. Yeah.
Somebody's going to reach for him in the third, probably, but
that would be too early for me. But
probably me. I did it, guys. Another player that I will definitely be putting into that same area of my drafts, and really that applies to the next couple guys we're going to talk about. But the next one on our list is last year's Rookie of the Year, Scotty Barnes, who averaged 15.3 points, 7.5 rebounds, 3.5 assists, 1.1 steals, 0.7 blocks, 0.8 threes. And I recently talked to Raptors beat reporter Josh Lewenberg on the podcast, and the feeling when I was talking to Josh was kind of, I think what we would all think is that, he also sees the ceiling as just being ridiculously high for this guy. A very soon to become an early round fantasy player, it seems. So, Steve, what are your thoughts on Scotty Barnes? Scotty don't in year 2.
Scotty Nipa. They did a mean tweets thing before the game last night, and somebody tweeted at Scotty Barnes about how young he looks, and he's like baby face, bro. And he is so young and so good. And I'm there with you and Josh and everybody else. Like, the sky's the limit for this kid. 1.8 turnovers. That was awesome. 74 games was fantastic. 49% shooting. Like, just shoot your free throws a little bit better, dude, and you're good to go.
Yeah, for me, the biggest thing with Scotty Barnes was just how he was able to put up all these numbers on that team with so many different guys around him. Pascal Siakam, OG Anunoby, Fred VanVleet. And for a rookie to come in and have a top 50 season on that team is just incredible. I see absolutely no reason why he wouldn't just continue his ascent in his sophomore season.
I mean, I think it would surprise no one if he had a top 25 fantasy season this year, right?
And Barnes is a guy that I'll reach for Barnes before I reach for Cunningham.
That's an interesting one.
It is, and I think that was actually the impetus for this. Why we're doing this episode is I was trying to think that through in my head. I guess I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know either. I feel like I was listening. Obviously, Doc doesn't like assists, apparently. But I think that I'll take Cade's assist. I don't know, but it's an interesting point. I mean, Scotty Barnes is fantasy gold, literally. So it's pretty much no warts.
It's pretty easy to see Cunningham having maybe not quite the season that LaMelo Ball had this year, but something in that neighborhood of like 20 points, 7 rebounds, 7 assists feels very reachable for Cade Cunningham. Whereas like Scotty Barnes, we're kind of hoping he makes a jump to 17 points, 9 rebounds, 4.5 assists or something like that, with all those defensive stats. So
yeah, he does everything.
Can't necessarily go wrong. I like them both a lot. And this third guy, so here's the third guy entering the equation, Evan Mobley, who averaged 15 points per game, 8.3 rebounds, 2.5 assists, 0.8 steals, 1.7 blocks. I went on to Basketball Reference this morning, found that there are 3 players ever aged 20 or younger who had, in a season, 15 plus points per game, 8+ rebounds, 2.5 or more assists, and 1.5 or more blocks. Chris Webber, Kevin Garnett, Evan Mobley.
Wow.
Age 20 or younger.
Wow.
So rare air. And granted, like you could say, well, Matt, 2.5 assists is kind of an arbitrary cutoff number a little bit. I get that. But that's a lot of assists for a rookie big man. So
yeah, exactly.
So, I mean, Jared, speaking of ceiling, this guy could easily be the best of those three players fantasy-wise next year.
He would be the guy I'd be most comfortable reaching for just because I'm obsessed with blocks and stuff. But yeah. I mean, he had an incredible rookie run. And just real quick on the number 3 overall pick, 13 out of 19 successful seasons, median value of 82. So just kind of looking towards this draft, the upcoming draft, you kind of want to focus on guys in the lottery. Fast forwarding to next year, Evan Mobley. I think this is a guy who I wouldn't be surprised to put up a top 25 campaign.
Mm-hmm. Steve, we know you don't like assists, but I think you do like blocks, right?
You know, this whole me not liking assists thing may be a little out of control. Somebody's listening for the first time, like, there's this fantasy guy talking on NBC like he hates assists. I don't hate assists. I'm not obsessed with assists and stuff like Jared is with blocks. Jared's like, yeah, I'm obsessed with blocks and stuff. I like that.
Blocks and assists, yeah.
I'm with Jared, man. Those are the best.
That's a good quote. Blocks and stuff, dude.
I blocked a shot in my pickup basketball game on Tuesday
night. It feels
amazing.
Like,
my night is made. You know.
Did you throw it? Did you throw it?
No, I almost never throw a shot. I'll just like stuff it. It's like I just quickly jump and get a hand up there. Just kind of weird blocks.
You know who does throw some shots is Juancho Hernangomez in that new Adam Sandler.
Oh, spoilers!
Oh.
Whoa!
Yeah,
spoilers.
I haven't seen that yet.
Well, wow. I'm not spoiling anything. The star of the movie is Juancho. He's the guy.
Well, now we know that he's throwing shots right and left. We didn't know that before.
He's 7 feet tall.
I was expecting him to get a steal and maybe a 3-pointer.
I thought assists.
Actually, he averages like 0.5 blocks and 10 assists. Okay.
Perfect.
So he's not really my kind of player. But anyway, back to Evan Mobley. You guys need to see that movie, by the way, so we can talk about it.
It's on my list, but we still can't until we feel comfortable that a bunch of our listeners have seen it. You know what I mean? We're still in the area where we can't spoil anything.
It's the number 1 film on Netflix. Everyone in the world except you two have seen it. My son is.
Zach hasn't seen it because he was tired last night. He hasn't seen it either.
My son has even seen it. I love Evan Mobley. The 1.7 blocks with the 0.8 steals and the 2.5 assists, and the excellent field goal percentage. It's all good. Just like Scottie, he needs to work on his free throw shooting. But other than that, man, there's no holes in his game. And I don't even think he played up to his potential last year. Like, I think we've just scratched the surface. He's gonna be a beast. And
0.3 3-pointers, I think we all expect that number to go up as well because he is a guy who will shoot and can make threes. So I think there's a 0.8, 1.0 kind of season or seasons in his future, in the near future, I think.
Yeah.
Good times there. All right, that's the obvious. To me, there's an obvious tier of second-year breakout guys, and there's an obvious top 3, and it's those 3, in my opinion. But there are some other intriguing guys, and we're going to talk about them right now. Josh Giddy was the next guy I wanted to talk about, who would just put up 12.5 points, 7.8 boards, 6.4 assists, cover your ears, Steve, 0.9 steals, 0.4 blocks, 1.0 threes. I mean, he's a future triple-double machine, right? And I think any guy who at his age, I think he was 19. Was he 19 most or all the season? He was one of the youngest
guys,
yeah. Yeah, he's 19 right now.
Yeah, he's 19 right now. And, I mean, I would normally be like through the roof excited about a guy who just did that at age 19. But I think my only concern is the team he's on. And, Steve, this Thunder really annoying tendency toward the shutdown. And Jonas already has it on our radar that another massive shutdown is likely coming for the Thunder later this season. So it's really going to affect me when it comes to Giddy. Like, that's going to impact where I draft him, for better or for worse.
Jonas really laid it out there. Like, he is shouting Armageddon for OKC fantasy hopes. And
yeah.
I mean, that stuck with you. It left a mark with you. It left a mark with me. I'm like, oh man, I can't really draft SGA this year. I probably can't mess with Josh Giddy, who played 54 games last year. So, but man, the triple double, he is, him and Luka and LaMelo are like walking triple double guys. So, draft Giddy early and often, and then trade him at the All-Star break.
Early and often. Yeah, Jared, are you as worried about this OKC shutdown? How much is this on your radar?
I don't know if I want to just throw away such a talented player for the hypothetical of a shutdown when the season hasn't started. We have no idea. I mean, like, I don't know. To see OKC do that for a third year in a row would be incredibly annoying, I guess. But like, the skill set from Josh Giddy is really fun to have. And I also don't think he's going to carry as much hype with him for the reason that he sat out a large chunk of the season and over the second half, which is kind of, recency bias definitely plays a role when we're drafting. So I like Josh Giddy a lot. And I don't think that his draft price is going to be so high where you'd want to just be like, well, the second half, he's going to get shut down, and just completely avoid him, because I think that you're kind of batting an eye at a guy with top 50 upside.
Well,
I think I might have used the wrong expression there.
We'll go with it. I got the wrong finals game earlier, so we each have one strike, Steve. And Steve kind of lied earlier, let's be honest. So we've all kind of got one strike against us. I like what I just heard. Steve, I'm back on board with drafting Giddy. I'm back until the next time we have Jonas on the podcast.
Yeah, I'm gonna need to get with Jonas before I can get back on board. I need to.
Okay.
I need to listen closer and take notes about Jonas's thoughts on the Thunder before I can make that decision.
Next player I wanted to talk about, guys, is Jalen Green. His rookie year included him ending with, so let's talk about the season ending numbers first. Around 17 points, 3.5 boards, 2.5 assists, just 0.7 steals, 0.3 blocks, but 2.3 3-pointers. And we should add, even though we talked the other day, Jared, about not overvaluing this closing stretch of a season, he was much better the last couple of months, closer to 21 points per game and 3 3-pointers per game. But my question to you, Jared, I know you're high on this player, is what's his fantasy what's his path to areas other than points, threes, maybe a handful of dimes? Are we optimistic about Green becoming a more well-rounded fantasy player in the upcoming season?
Are you meaning in terms of steals? Because I don't really think that would happen. But I think
steals,
that if he could get up to he had 2.6 assists. If he could double that to close to 5, I think that's a huge, huge difference there. And just improve his percentages like he did over the second half of the year. He shot better. I think those are the main things. I think this is not a player who's going to get in the top 50 his sophomore year with 1 steal a game. But I do think it's possible if we're looking at it like a 25-5 guy with 2 triples and better percentages. I really like him. I think that he's in an ideal situation. And we said the last time I was on about how you don't want to overemphasize what happens just over the second half of the season. But I'm not just looking at the second half of the season. I saw steady improvement throughout the year, which really came to a head when the game slowed down for him over the second half of the season. So that's the caveat I would give to him and being excited about him next season.
Yeah, I'm excited about him too. I love the 2 turnovers in 32 minutes a game. That's big for somebody who's going to have the ball on his hands as much as he is. I'm kind of with you, Matt. Like, where are the other stats going to come from if it's not points and threes? But there's potential there. I mean, we got to see what happens. I mean, this is going to be a big year for Jalen Green to find out if he can approach 5 dimes a game, if he can go up to 5 rebounds, if he can steal the ball. He flirted with a steal a game. He's never going to be a shot blocker, I don't think, but at least 0.7 steals in your rookie season. I don't think it's that big of a stretch to see that going to 1.
Yeah, and I do think of all the guys we've talked about, he's probably going to be the easiest to draft, I would say. Even though he was
Yeah.
a really high real life draft pick, I think fantasy wise, you are probably going to find this guy sitting there in the middle rounds and be able to take a swing on him, is my guess.
Yep.
Yep.
All right, we have more names to hit. First, we're going to take a very quick break. Just a reminder, if you don't have the NBC Sports Predictor app powered by PointsBet, go and download it now. The contests are free and easy to play. And you have a shot to win thousands by predicting what will happen in the NBA playoffs, on the PGA Tour, and NASCAR circuit. We also have a special contest on Tuesdays and Thursdays called Battle of the Bets, where you can agree or disagree with our experts for a shot to collect some cash. All right. We could go any number of orders. We could go any order here the rest of the way. For whatever reason, the next name I have on my list is, and this is not the guy I will be drafting the highest out of this next group, but I have Jaylen Suggs as the next guy I wanted to talk about. Rookie year, he finished around 11.8 points, 3.6 rebounds, 4.4 assists, and 1.2 steals with 0.9 threes. If I just told you that, I think you'd say, oh, well, that's interesting. I think I'd like to draft that guy in his second year when he improves on that. But we all know he shot 36% from the floor with 3 turnovers per game. Steve, it's like I just said, I want to get excited about Suggs because there's potentially some intrigue there, but that 36 has to somehow get into the low 40s, and that's a big jump. I just don't know if it's going to happen. What do you think about Suggs?
Well, the 21 from downtown doesn't really help either. And the 77 from the free throw line is not all that fun. Like you said, the turnovers are rough. The scoring was rough. I think the potential's there. I also, we got to keep in mind that Cole Anthony was hurt for a lot of the season too, right? Mm-hmm. And so was Suggs. He only played 48 games. So, I mean, I'll take a late flyer on Suggs, but I'm not going to get sucked into the hype machine if it happens.
Yeah, I agree. I would do the same thing. I wouldn't reach for him. Would I take him with a late round pick just for maybe, he can get things together in the second year? But I mean, there wasn't a lot to love about his rookie year, especially the really, really bad shooting. Like, how much can that realistically improve over 3 months? I mean, I don't love it.
36 is a scary number. I mean, let's just say it. Like, if it was, like you said, I'm not that worried about Cade Cunningham shooting 41.6, but I mean, 36
right.
is. I mean, Ray Alston is looking at Jaylen Suggs and be like, "What are you doing? You got to improve that field goal percentage." Next up is Davion Mitchell, and this might be. Well, I want to hear what you guys think. To me, this feels like that. Be careful of over-evaluating a late-season stretch situation. Jared disagrees, so I'm eager to hear what you have to say. Last 11 games, 18.8 points, 9.3 dimes, 0.7 steals, 1.4 threes. There was no De'Aaron Fox during that stretch, Jared, so I want to hear what you have to say. What's your, based on your facial reactions, cause for optimism on Mitchell this upcoming season, given that we project Fox to be there and healthy at the start of the year?
I just think this is huge. Wait, was Fox really not there at all? Didn't they play together a little bit at the end of the year?
Well, those final 11 games, the stats that I cited where Mitchell really, now I do think Mitchell did have some notable games without Fox, but his best stretch was with no Fox.
Right. I don't know. I just feel like this kid has the ability to be a fantasy monster because of his ability to rip away the rock. His ability to hand out dimes. And I just saw, again, this is a situation where the reason I was excited about those numbers is they happened after Tyrese Halliburton's departure. Now, if Ivy could really mess this situation up, and if that's what happens, I will be off that train. But I feel like Davion Mitchell has Davion Mitchell. I think he has one of the best potential explosions as a sophomore, just for the ability to get more consistent minutes. That's going to be a little bit dependent on how Mike Brown utilizes his backcourt, and again, how this draft goes. But I really, really, really like his potential.
I was a Davion Mitchell guy last year. I really thought he was going to explode after the trade, after Tyrese Halliburton landed in Indy. didn't really happen right away, and it seemed like it was all dependent on whether Fox was playing or not. So I don't really know how I feel about what's going to happen next season, but I feel like if it gets to like round 7 or round 8 and Davion Mitchell's sitting there, I'm gonna go for it. I like him. I just don't love him. We'll go with that.
Next on the list is Franz Wagner, who finished up his rookie year in Orlando, 15.2 points, 4.5 rebounds, 2.9 dimes, 0.9 steals, 0.4 blocks, 1.2 threes. I guess there's two ways to look at Wagner. On the one hand, I like look at that stat line and I'm like, well, it's solid, but like nothing really stands out. He wasn't really like a big asset in any one area. But then again, that's his stat line as a 21-year-old rookie. So, Steve, I maybe should be higher on him coming off that rookie year. And I know you like him based on our conversation the other day. I just find myself wondering in this case, how high really is the ceiling? How much higher is it than what we saw that first year?
I really don't know. We're going to find out this year. Like I said the other day on Monday, it seemed like he got off to a really great start to the season, and then everything just kind of slowed down as time went by. I do know that he had that big month in December when he averaged 19.5 boards, 3 assists, and 1.4 3-pointers, and shot 47%. So he was really solid in December and January. I kind of think as long as he does that again for the whole season, then he should be good to go. I like him. He seems like one of those guys, like a glue guy, a fantasy glue guy. Like he's not going to really hurt you anywhere. He's not going to win you a championship, but he'll be on every league he'll be drafted in.
I like him. I'm terrified of Orlando. I'm terrified of every player in Orlando. I just don't know. I need to see free agency. I need to see how this draft shakes out before I'm really making any declarative statements about these guys.
I like that, Jared. And Matt, if you could just refrain from asking me or Jared any more questions about Orlando players until next season, that would be just great.
Okay. Perfect. Well, the next guy I want to talk to you about is an Orlando player. No, I'm just kidding. It's not.
Jonathan Isaac.
Okay, that's fair. I can try to abide by that.
It's going to be
it's going to be tricky actually because they do have the number 1 pick in the draft, which is next week. So we're probably going to talk about them. But
we're going to have to talk about them.
All right, just 3 names left to hit, and the next one is one Alperen Sengun of the Rockets. Ooh. As you guys know, we waited, we continued waiting. We stashed him. We continued stashing. He actually did. I look back. He actually did have a pretty productive finish when you just look at the whole complete picture. I just highlighted his last 15 games. Finished with 12.4 points, 7.5 rebounds, 3.1 dimes, 0.9 steals, 0.9 blocks, 0.6 threes over those last 15. Is someone's cat tearing up there?
What is happening?
I heard.
I feel like Jared is being attacked by vampires or something.
That cat was a big Alperen Sengun. Actually stashed Alperen Sengun in multiple leagues and was just like waiting. Anyhow, Jared is going to be back. Jared looks like he's back. Jared, are you okay?
Not my cat. I just want to make that clear. I do not own a cat, but
your dad's cat. It's fine if you do have a cat, Jared.
I'm allergic.
That's okay. Oh, well, then it's not fine. You're allergic, and it was disrupting our show. But I was saying to Steve, I just thought it was Alperen Sengun related opinions that the cat was trying to express. Anyhow,
Sengun.
Let me just finish my thought here. This is coming your way, Jared. So the caveats are, number one, Christian Wood's still there, right? He's been mentioned as a potential trade candidate, but the Rockets also could very easily add to that front court in this upcoming draft. I think we expect them to as of right now, unless they were to, I don't know, go off the board, not off the board, but take Jaden Ivey or something instead of, Paolo Banchero. But I mean, as of right now, we expect another front court player there. It just makes me worried, Jared, not about the player at all, but just about the situation.
No, I hate his situation. I don't think it's great at all. I mean, if Christian Wood is there, and like I was not one of the people that was waiting for him last year. I was like, Christian Wood's there. It doesn't make sense to shut him down. I don't know. Like you said, this is similar to Orlando, where they're gonna probably add another big. Like, not great. Not really looking forward to. He's not a guy that I'm targeting as of right now.
It's funny that Jared's dad's cat turned into a vampire and attacked him right as we brought up Alperen Şengün's name, because perhaps no player in the NBA was a more frustrating figure for us at NBC Sports Edge. I mean, so many of us were like, yeah, he can't fail. He's going to be great. And then you look at these numbers, man. I mean, Matt, you can talk about he may have finished up sort of okay the last 2 or 3 games of the year, whatever.
No, more than 2 or 3.
9.6 points. 9.6. 71% free throws, 5.5 boards, didn't even get a block a game.
Boo.
It was excruciating.
Yeah, okay.
And
that's fine.
I'm so scarred by this that I am out.
I think you're fully I think you're looking at it the wrong way, though, because you're blaming the player. It was the player's role. His per 36-minute numbers are close to 17 points per game, 9.5 rebounds, 4.5 assists, 1.4 steals, 1.6 blocks, and he is still 19 years old. This guy is an absolute monster waiting to happen who just has a bad role. So it's fine to be out. It's fine to be out because of the role. I'm just saying don't treat this like the player is not good, because this guy.
I agree with that. I mean, I'm not saying he's a bad player. I'm just saying the minutes aren't there.
Steve said he's terrible.
Is that what he's saying?
Steve? No, he was not used the way that I would have used him by Stephen Silas. And it's just like our guy, Chris Bosh-Boucher. Oh, by the way, the NASCAR guy, his name is Busher. Chris Boucher and Nick Nurse in Toronto. It's the same thing. Like, play the guy. And the frustrating thing to me about Şengün and Stephen Silas is even when he had an opportunity to play Şengün, he didn't over and over and over and over again. And it's just like, what is going to change this summer that's going to turn that around next year, especially if what's his name? We already talked about Wood. Yeah, Christian Wood. If Christian Wood's back, what's going to change? Nothing.
And Paolo's comes in. I mean, there's just like so many different things that are going wrong for him in terms of fantasy hoops.
Right.
I think he's a fine player.
Now watch, he'll come out and be an all-star this year.
Yeah, I think he's still. I mean, again, there's some serious potential here. It's just the situation is a mess. Chris Duarte had his moments as a rookie. It's tricky, though. Again, the situation, I think, comes into play here. Might be blocked at the start of the year by veterans there. We do know that Malcolm Brogdon can't stay healthy. That's one potential path for Duarte to get out there. Brogdon also could be traded in theory. Steve, is Duarte on your radar as like an end-of-draft kind of guy at this point if you were drafting today, which you're not?
I would take a flyer on Duarte at the end of my draft. Depends on who else is there, but he meets all the criteria. He's young, even though he's old young.
He's old young. Yep.
He's old young.
He's like 6 years older than Alperen Şengün, I think.
That's pretty wild to think about. And it also is going to depend on his role, because he's got some competition. Buddy Hield being there doesn't help his situation at all. But last round flyer, I would take Duarte.
Yeah, Buddy Hield, Tyrese Halliburton, and Malcolm Brogdon are the problems here. Without those guys, I think we'd all love them, but the opportunity doesn't appear to be there at the moment, and we kind of saw him struggle to take advantage in a crowded backcourt last season. So I would take a late round flyer because we saw the flashes, but wouldn't reach for him.
Let's end with one Jonathan Kuminga, whose season stats really won't blow you away. He did over his final 31 games, which is just the stretch that I happened to select. We're was around 13 points, 4.5 rebounds, 1.5 assists, 1.0 threes, 0.5 steals, 0.5 blocks. Jared, I'll ask you this first because you're the Warriors guy. First of all, are you capable of being rational when it comes to Kuminga's fantasy potential? And if so, I mean, I'm just trying to get my mind wrapped around how high the ceiling is, because we know he's an awesome athlete and he did this at 19 years old. But like, I don't know what's it look like for you as you project ahead to year 2.
It's tough because we still don't know how James Wiseman fits into this team, and I think a lot of minutes opened up for him because James Wiseman wasn't there. This team is loaded in forwards. Wiggins is going to be back. Draymond's still there. I guess if Otto Porter leaves, that would definitely open up. So I guess that's kind of where it'll be, how this team looks. Right. But if they cut some of the forwards, there could be enough minutes there. I mean, the kid is uber talented, uber athletic. We've seen him put up quality fantasy numbers, but it's just about how does he get those minutes in order to be able to put up these numbers.
Right. That makes sense.
That's the thing. 17 minutes a game without James Wiseman around, even with Kuminga flashing these signs of greatness. Like, I love this kid. I am extremely fired up about Kuminga. I just don't know. I don't know when he's going to get a shot at 30 minutes. A lot of people are saying this is the last hurrah for the Warriors. Like, maybe they go out and win the championship tomorrow or Sunday, and then they kind of blow things up and start reworking from the bottom up.
Jared's shaking his head.
And I'm not saying that break up the team, but Kuminga needs to play for this team. I don't care how you do it. I don't care. I don't need to see Kevon Looney out there playing big minutes every night. I don't really care about James Wiseman. I want to see Kuminga play. Can he get 25 minutes a game next year? If he gets 25 minutes a game, his numbers are going to be stellar. So I'm probably going to reach for Kuminga next year. Is what it
Interesting.
All right. Well, before we go, Steve, the other day you declared yourself reminded us that you are a big birthday guy. You love birthdays. You love to celebrate birthdays. You went out and bought some party supplies after the podcast. And I just did a little research right now during the podcast, realized that we had some big birthdays this week. First of all, Chris Duarte turned 25 2 days ago on June 13th. Second year NBA player, Chris Duarte just turned 25. RJ Barrett and Gabe Vincent had birthdays yesterday. Alex Len and CJ Elby will have birthdays tomorrow. Steve, for those listening, has just put a party hat on his head.
There's no whistle.
Pipe. He's got a party pipe.
It's just a pipe. It's not a party horn.
He's got a party pipe, one of the things that you blow into, and it's supposed to make a noise. Are you doing it wrong, Steve? It's just coiling out and recoiling without the horn.
I don't think these are party horns, Matt. I think these are party pipes.
Party pipes. He's got the red hat. We should know he's placed the birthday hat on his head. It fell off because he didn't strap it on to his head.
These are 8 fancy fringed blowouts.
Blowout.
It should make a noise.
Is that annoying?
I'm not gonna
it's far less interesting if it's not making the noise. Come on, let's get another party pipe in there.
Steve,
that one's broken.
Birthday, dear Chris.
And RJ and Gabe and Alex and CJ. Steve, can we try to get the hat around your chin? Because it keeps falling.
Well, the problem is I've got these gigantic.
Let's just see what happens. I just want to try before we go.
You want to see if it's the string snaps? Oh, look at that.
Yeah. Boom.
Hell yeah.
Beautiful.
Now you're good to go.
Dude, now it's going to come shooting down across my face.
It's going to whip up and hit your nose, that strap. Steve, for next time, by the way, fantastic job getting those supplies. Do you think we could try to get one that makes a horn sound for next week?
Yeah. I'll head back out. Head back out into town, see what I get. Let me try another one, make sure that wasn't a
could have been effective
blowout.
Okay, hold on. Whoa, you just blew into I think you hit your mic there. Yeah, you're hitting your mic somehow.
That's all we got. They're just blowouts. They're not horns.
Yep, definite blowouts. All right. Well, that's the birthday celebration for today. That is the end of the episode. I want to say thanks to everyone for listening and watching live with us. Don't forget to subscribe to the show on Apple Podcasts, on Spotify, wherever you listen. Take a minute to rate and review us as well. We'll be back on Friday. More to talk about, possibly with the NBA Finals concluded or headed to Game 7. Steve, Jared, thanks, guys. I enjoyed this, and I'll talk to you soon.
Happy birthday.
Happy birthday.
Thanks for watching. Make sure to hit subscribe for all the latest fantasy and sports betting advice from NBC Sports Edge. And don't forget to sign up for NBC Sports Edge Plus to get the best-in-class draft guides, as well as season-long fantasy, DFS, and sports betting tools that will give you the edge.